Hi guys, my name is Mrs. Jensen. I am a science teacher at a space camp in Ogden, Utah. And today we are going to be talking about actually things on Earth, not in space. A lot of stuff happens on Earth that is changing the surface of the Earth all the time. We get mountains, we get valleys, oceans move, rivers wash things away. All of these processes work together to shape our land. There are two main processes that cause the Earth to change. Everything that's happening fits into these two categories. The first one is weathering. Weathering is any process that breaks down the surface of the Earth. It makes the Earth, rocks and dirt and plants get smaller. It breaks it into smaller pieces. It changes what it looks like. This happens with weather, but also some other processes like ice. Ice wedging happens when water moves into the cracks of dirt and mountains and freezes and makes the Earth expand. Plants growing will make things move. It changes the dirt. It moves dirt around. Animals grazing, animals walking will change the surface of the Earth. And abrasion, when things rub against each other, often from wind or from smaller pieces of dirt hitting bigger rocks. All of these things cause weathering. They happen very naturally. One thing we could add to this list would be people. People moving around the Earth will change the surface of the Earth also. Anything that happens to break it down is called weathering. Then those smaller pieces experience erosion. Erosion is the process of moving that broken material or moving the weathered material to another location. This happens from water in rivers or oceans or frozen water like glaciers moving over a long period of time. Happens with gravity, landslides, rocks and mud suddenly moves off the mountain, and also from wind. Wind can carry things across the surface of the Earth and move it. These are the three main things that cause erosion. There are three processes that lead to drastic changes in the Earth, really dramatic, big changes. And those are volcanoes, earthquakes, and uplift. Uplift is where the Earth kind of goes like this, and we get mountains or plateaus or buttes just raising up the Earth. So what we're going to do today is show how some of those processes not only affect the surface of the Earth, but affect the people living in the Earth. You will need Legos, or something like Legos that you can build a small structure out of. You'll need a bucket of dirt. If you don't have dirt or sand, I'm using sand today. You can use dirt from your yard or from the park. You could use rice, you could use flour, anything that's kind of soft moves around like this. So the first thing you're going to do is take 5 to 7 Legos, build a structure about this size. It's only about 1 inch in each direction. Place it in your dirt. Next, we're going to simulate an earthquake. Now watch what happens to my structure during the earthquake. It's getting tossed around pretty badly. If there were people in there, their house was destroyed, might have tipped over on them. It's not good. So now your job is to figure out a way next time there's an earthquake to protect the structure. Things that you could use might be plants, because we know they affect the surface of the Earth. My plants are fake. You're welcome to use actual grass or shrubs or sticks that you find. You can use tape. You can use sticks. Or you can use clay or Play-Doh. I don't have clay or Play-Doh with me today. So what I'm actually going to use to improve my structure is more Legos. The bottom of this structure, you'll notice, is not very secure. It was able to tip a lot like this. Well, what if I add a stronger base to it? I build that base, whoa. Bury it, create a strong foundation for my building. I don't know if it's going to work. Do you think it will? Let's find out. You'll notice this time My structure is still moving. It's swaying a little bit with the earth, but it didn't tip over. Buildings actually are designed to do that. If they don't move with the earth a little bit or with the wind, they will fall over. So I would personally consider this a success. What happens if we have a stronger earthquake, though? Do you think it will withstand that? Let's find out. I don't know if anything would withstand that earthquake. The next thing we're going to simulate is wind erosion. To do this, you can use just your face or a small fan. If you use your face, make sure you close your eyes. Also, don't blow straight down, because then the sand will come straight up in your face. Watch what happens, hopefully you can see it, to the surface of the sand as wind moves across it. If you could see that, you might be able to see it better on your own, but sand moved from here over to here, and now I have a big depression in the middle. This becomes a really big problem for farmers who are trying to keep their soil in place to grow healthy crops. So what could you do to prevent this type of erosion? Save the crops, save the farm. Again, you can use Legos, you can use plants, you can use sticks, tape, clay or Play-Doh, or anything else you find in your house that you think might help you to build something to prevent the wind erosion. I am going to start by planting things. I'll take a few of my plants. Again, you can gather some real ones from outside. And see what happens if I simply plant things. Probably wouldn't really have a palm tree with pine trees, but that's what we're doing today anyway. What happens in a forest? Will as much dirt blow away? Will it be able to? Let's find out. Again, careful of your eyes so you don't get anything in it. You'll have to watch this on yours a little closer, but what I noticed is some dirt still was able to move, but the trees themselves prevented some of the erosion. What if I used my sticks and built a fence to protect my crops? Would that perhaps be better? What if I planted smaller crops or more crops or built some houses around it to protect it? You try it, see what works best to prevent your wind erosion. The next process we're going to look at is water erosion. So coming back to our first Lego structure, not the reinforced one for your earthquake activity, but a small one. Build a small hill with your soft material. Here in Utah, we have lots of beautiful mountains, and we have a lot of people who like to live on those mountains, so they will build their houses at the top of hills like this. What happens, though, when we have a very rainy year? It doesn't happen often. We live in a very dry climate, but sometimes we get extra rain. What will happen to those houses that are built on those hills? You'll notice that the ground around this house is starting to wash away. Starting to see the basement. It's probably not what they were expecting when they moved in. What could you do to protect this house so that they can still live on the beautiful mountain, but not run the risk of losing all of the dirt or the hill around them? How do we prevent water from washing away all of our land or from a mudslide happening and carrying away our house? Using those same materials, or perhaps you've thought of some other ones by now, think of a solution to protect this house. For me, I got my idea from what they do in Florida. Florida has a really high water table, and they build really big, fancy houses. And then within a couple of years of building those houses, the water came up underneath them and washed away the ground. So after they put lots of money into these houses, They had to drive pilings down underneath their houses to support the dirt underneath, so that when the water came in, the dirt couldn't go as far. I think they were more effective in Florida than I am right here. What can you do to protect your house from water erosion, either water above or water underneath? Send me your pictures and videos of the solutions you have to protect humans from earthquakes, wind, and water erosion.